Lazus Rex, Chapter 2. Potu. Power, to be famous, to be feared, to be respected. Potu was a plateau among the mountains. The Lazus who settled here introduced themselves as children of chaos. When Kotitaki arrived at the plateau, there was a festive atmosphere. Out of curiosity, he asked Ari, one of the residents of Kotipotu, about chaos. Ari was a tall, dark-eyed forester. It was as if flames were coming out of his eyes. In the beginning, there was chaos, Ari began. There were stars before the world was created. Before the stars, there was chaos. All stars were formed from chaos. After the stars, the world was created, he continued. All right, who created the world? Koti asked. From chaos emerged Tartarus, Eros, and Gaia, Ari replied. Tartarus is the fire that never goes out. Gaia the earth. Eros rules over love and lust, which holds them together. Gaia's children bring the world together. His eldest child is the mountains of Urea, Pontic Sea. Uranus created the sky. Gaia felt that something important was missing after the world was formed. He begot the cruel Kronos from Uranus. Kronos began to dominate time, the one thing we cannot reverse. Think about it. If there were no time, these mountains you see would be. The seas would remain as they were created. However, time enables the development of everything you see around you. Wasn't Kronos a god who ate his children? Koti asks. This is a metaphorical expression in my opinion. Time is a phenomenon that causes everything to grow old and disappear. It is flow, movement. If there was no time, everything would remain as it was created. As time passes, everything wears out. Mountains, rivers, plains, and of course people. Aren't these all children of Kronos? Why do people get older? Koti went deeper this time. The more you breathe, the older you become. Air is actually the biggest poison. It is he who both keeps us alive and kills us, Ari replied. That's enough for today, thought Koti. He started watching the plateau. On one side, there was a magnificent waterfall flowing from the mountains. Coming from above as a single branch, the waterfall split into 4 and 5 downwards. The sound of the water was deafeningly loud. The meadows in the middle of the valley were winding. Koti could see 3 or 4 curves in a row from where he was standing. In the background, there were steep mountains that looked like monuments. The houses of the village were quite far apart from each other. This was a normal thing in the Black Sea. There were their own meadows around the houses, and the villagers' animals grazed in the meadows. In a sense, each village house was like a self-sufficient fiefdom. The village did not have a distinct square. There was a mud path running parallel to the valley. As he came towards the end of the valley, Koti saw a stone castle-like house on a high mound, different from the other houses. As he approached the house, 3 like-minded men stopped Koti. Hey, stranger, where do you think you're going? One of the men asked. I come from Pontus. I'm going to Aurea, Koti replied. They scolded Koti, saying, What are you saying, man? I am a village poet. I come from Pontus, that is from the seaside. I pass through your valley and go to the mountains, namely Aurea. When I saw your stone house, I wondered, is the owner of this place a feudal lord, or is he a poor person like me? What a poor looter! Here resides Count Lazarus Gorty. If a butterfly flies around here, you'll be asked about it, replied the larger man. Just then, a man wearing armor appeared at the door of the house. He slowly walked towards Koti and Isbanduts. The man had many sword wounds on his face. He was missing both fingers. What do you want, stranger? Is it possible to pass from here without greetings or mournings? Koti looked into the Count's eyes and replied, It is a coincidence that I pass here. It's a coincidence that I came across you. Isn't it a coincidence in life, Count? The Count slowly approached Koti and, placing his hand on his shoulder, began to speak. In the book of the Holy Jesus Christ, life is not a coincidence. Doesn't the ignorant villager write about how the Creator, Adonai, created the world and people? It's not a coincidence that you came here, still living even though you are. The Count's men reached for their swords to mow down Koti upon an order given by the Count. They looked at the Count eagerly to tear him to pieces. Koti began to answer the Count slowly. What I call coincidence is chaos, my dear Count. Aren't you Potian's children of chaos? Is Adonai a person made of flesh and bones? Or is he a body of knowledge made up of numbers and signs? Is it the order of those numbers coming together in different ways to create the world and people? Or is it the rule of chaos? Let's think about it in reverse. If life is a coincidence, can't another coincidence destroy life? For example, like the people of Lot in the Old Testament. But why would Adonai allow a coincidence to destroy the world? Then he wouldn't have created it at all. The world is a place of testing. People could not pass the first test by being expelled from the Garden of Paradise. Finally, by crucifying Jesus Christ, they committed a crime by killing Adonai's son. Every baby is born with this crime. To have this crime forgiven as long as he lives, he tries to make his soul pure and smooth. What's the chaos in this? The poor people living in this village still believe in chaos. They call themselves the children of chaos. Their faith is only enough for them to live as serfs in the valley. Our faith allowed us to rule in a stone castle on the hill. Now tell me, is the word of a poor villager more valuable, or the word of a feudal lord? Koti put his hand to his chin and replied, If you are so sure of your faith, your excellency the Count, if the only thing that is absolutely true is your belief, why don't you tell the villagers about this belief? Differences in belief create differentiation. Alteration creates separation. Division creates hostility. Hostility creates war. The stone walls of the castle on the hill may protect you today. You may rely on the sharp swords of your men. But isn't nature stronger than all of us? If one day lightning strikes your castle during a storm, if the hill on which the castle stands was subjected to a landslide due to the rain, if your men fall ill from the cold, how long can they protect you? How much power can be used? However, if your faith were in the hearts of the serfs in the valley, if they believed in Adonai and Jesus Christ instead of Tartarus, Eros and Gaia, if they would mercifully take you into their homes and protect you in the storm so that you, their religious brother, would not be harmed, wouldn't you have a much more sustainable life? Won't you ensure the continuation of the family for generations? The Count took his hand from Koti's shoulder and took his arm. My name is Count Lazarus Gorty. What is your name? Asked. Koti is Taki, sir. I am a village poet. From one village to another among these endless mountains and valleys, I walk from one castle to another. I am the history of Pontus. I take what happened here from one person and tell it to another. Do not be angry with my words, Your Highness the Count. Every word I say is a story I heard from someone. Now I will tell someone else tomorrow what I heard from you today. This way, information will be spread. People's knowledge pool will expand. Slowly, talking, they went towards Count Lazarus' castle.